Thank you so much, Pete, for having me today. I'm super excited to be joining the team to be talking about how to drive shopping ads and online e-commerce here at Google. I'm an agency development manager, and I've been working at Google 6 years, but in the online digital space for over 13 years, and working with NetSertive for quite some time through the Premier Partnership and really working with them daily on all of the strategies that we have here at Google and how to maximize them for their end customers. And what we're going to be talking about today is specifically for e-commerce and looking at, what are the e-commerce trends that we're seeing here at Google, especially in light of COVID and how the landscape has been changing, and how we could get started on shopping ads. So quick agenda, current landscape, the basics of Google Shopping ads, and how to use smart shopping campaigns to achieve your marketing objectives. So first, let's take a look at where we're at today. It's really important to understand where the market and consumer demand stands today to highlight the unique opportunity for retail. And COVID-19 has upended our world, but zooming out, it's mostly accelerated trends that were already underway before the crisis. We've experienced 10 years of change in 6 months. We've seen massive shifts in the way that people are searching, shopping, and consuming content. And COVID-19 accelerated consumers' digital adoption from streaming to e-commerce and collaboration tools to e-learning. And shoppers have made a dramatic shift online over the past few months, with consumers moving online to explore and to browse, research, and to buy. And one of the most outstanding shifts that we saw is that e-commerce grew more in 2 months than it had in the past 10 years, soaring from 16% to almost 30%. So right now, taking a step back, having a digital storefront and online presence is now more critical than ever for brands and retailers to build an omni-channel strategy and capture the demand where users are searching online. Pete, did you have any kind of insights from your side, and if you've seen this trend as well in your customer base at NetSertive?
We certainly did. In fact, we noticed that a lot of our customers that were contemplating a blended strategy, an in-store localized strategy with e-commerce, either got caught, left behind when this happened a year ago, or pivoted quickly and made an adjustment. So some particular markets we saw dramatic increases were home services, home goods, and even auto really changed the way people buy cars. So we saw this in spades, and 2020 was a wake-up call for a lot of our clients.
Yeah, that's a great point. A lot of customers and clients had to pivot very quickly, but I think we're starting to get to a point where retailers and brands are seeing the trend, and that's kind of why we're here today to talk about what are the next steps to take if you're not already pivoting to capture these new trends that are happening in the market. So also want to highlight some trends that we've seen around search queries. So store closures have further highlighted to consumers the convenience of online shopping, and the shift has been slowly progressing, but the search data that we have is intent driven, and we're seeing what people are actually searching for, and certain searches are actually accelerating way more than ever this past year. So searches for inspiration, ideas, comparison, and online shopping means more purchase decisions are being made online. Do any of these kind of stand out to you, Pete?
They do. I happen to be in market right now, so I'm being retargeted with almost every kind of area rug you can imagine. So I think my wife single-handedly drove the room decor ideas increase over the past year, without a doubt.
Love it. Yeah, we've seen, everyone's home, so right? So room decor ideas, everyone's looking at their same 4 walls and just thinking, how do I make this look different, feel different? This is now my base, my workstation too, with a lot of people working from home. So room decor ideas has gone up, and we saw last summer and now going into spring, summer again, backyard ideas, 300%, 200% up, as well as small bedroom ideas. People are spending more time at home, having any type of gathering at home. So they really want to make their space their own and invest. So this is a huge opportunity for certain industries like furniture and other retail and e-commerce with home specific offerings. And then some of the other increases that we've seen just in general. So search terms for free delivery being up 300%. Obviously, everyone's been, turning to delivery options as much as they can to reduce their time out at the store. And then curbside pickup also being a huge one, up astounding 3,000%. We've seen a lot of brands and retailers shift really fast to being able to offer curbside pickup, and it's paid off in spades. So these kinds of changes and trends that we've been seeing over the last year, they're only continuing to build in the months and years to come as we start living with this. So the pace of consumer change is accelerating more than ever. And how do we keep up? It's really a combination that has left us with an unprecedented opportunity. So to be ready for whatever comes next by being ready to take action on what matters right now. So we saw throughout the pandemic that retailers who seized the opportunity of the moment over the past year had something in common. They leveraged highly dynamic signals from their own first-party data and data available through Google's platforms and products to gain significant business advantages. And what's more, they actioned these types of signals across the org, the products, and the channel strategies. And these types of consumer signals were under leveraged before COVID, but they can no longer be in a dynamic world that we live in today. And they're vital to both recovery and resilience. And they are the window to what matters to consumers, even as they change day by day and hour by hour. And digital transformation is about more than building a better e-commerce site. It's about using data and technology to upscale your product and your channel capabilities. And most critically, it's about capturing demand in a dynamic way. And doing so, that requires smarter automation that can make actionable sense of data and signals in real time and at scale. Being ready by being data and insights led. So given how messy the shopper journey has become, you can't rely on traditional shopping patterns, merchandising strategy, and manual planning. You need to work from a wealth of inputs and adopt smart automation tools that make sense of all of it in real time and connect customers with what they need. And shoppers are moving between your site, the app, physical stores, and they expect an omni-channel experience to be frustration-free. They're searching for store info, product availability, and even buying ahead before they get to the store, making it more important than ever to create frustration-free shopping experiences across online and in store, which means you have to break down the old silos, channel, data, and org silos, and take a holistic, real-time approach to marketing. So be ready by inspiring new customers where they shop. Again, shoppers are not only turning to online more for their shopping needs, but they're exploring new brands and products online more than they ever have before. So it's really critical to be able to discover shoppers, be discoverable as shoppers browse and seek inspiration on our shopping products. Anything to add there, Pete, before we jump into the shopping ads?
I think you've got a slide coming up that really summarizes it well when you talk about omni-channel approach, right? I think in our conversations with many of our clients, it's a lot of the little things that add up to the big things. So for example, the use of reviews, the images you're using, what's showing in potentially a video ad versus a display ad back into a search ad, and then what ultimately shows up in that shopping ad, particularly knowing what your competition is doing at any given time, and then making sure those products that you're showing are available. So it's so many little factors that you've got to pay attention to. And that's one of the reasons NetStartup and Google work together, because our job is to make sure that we use the Google tools as well as possible by understanding what our customer situation is and their customers. So I think you're going to touch on some of this, but you hit it right in the head. There's just so much going on here that you can build your way into the right solution.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, we will go through more of that in some future slides. Right now, want to take kind of a zoom back. So we talked about what's been happening in the space, e-commerce boom, things are shifting, omni-channel, but let's talk about shopping ads. Just, varying throughout the room. There might be some people that have tested shopping ads. Maybe you haven't done shopping ads at all. Want to really give everyone a holistic overview of shopping ads, where they show, and how they work here at Google. So first, it's critical to understand that Google search results are the digital shelf. And the way to think about it is, if you're not on the shelf, you're not being considered. And if you own the shelf, you're going to grow your market share. So people use Google to find the best products, prices, and places to buy. Shopping ads are shown to people who are already searching for the kinds of products that you have in store. They're visual, they're immersive, engaging, and they give the shoppers detailed information before even clicking on your ad, which makes them move further down the funnel of consideration. And this is kind of that consumer journey that Pete was mentioning. It's definitely not linear, and there's various touch points. There's product reviews, ratings, third-party perspectives, there's ads, videos, word of mouth, and shoppers are engaging with rich experiences that immerse them before they even get to the point where they're buying. And Google Shopping ads exist across that entire path to purchase. So now let's take a look at where shopping ads appear on the search engine result page. So here's a standard search results page on Google where a user is making a query for a Keurig. To some users, this may seem like native content, and that's really how we want it to look and feel in order to show the most relevant results based on that user's intent for that specific query, taking in millions of signals like time of day, location, and it's critical to understand the placements, how they work, and make sure that you're optimizing your presence across the search engine results page with your digital marketing strategy. And shopping ads gives users a strong sense of the product that you're selling before they even click the ad, giving you more qualified leads. We also have a shopping tab, which allows users to fully immerse in the shopping experience on Google, and then filter for things like price, condition, free shipping, and more. And that's where it really comes into play, where to have feed health, critical to have feed health, that your inventory is consistently being updated, you have the right annotations, and you're able to show up when users filter for your products. We also offer a hosted sell buy on Google, formerly known as Shopping Actions, which allows retailers to actually sell directly on Google through an on-site checkout. As well as you may have heard recently in the press, we have a free product listings, which is also called Services Across Google, which clicks that send the users to the retailer website. But if you set up a feed through Merchant Center, you could actually opt into this feature. And I would think of it more similar to the organic version of shopping ads. Pete, can you talk more about your NetSertive's feed product and how we could potentially help some of the people on the call today get that set up?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest gaps that we have found when people try to bring an online shopping experience to customers is understanding their inventory feed. So there are some standard tools out there. NetSertive has the right partnerships in place. And we work with a lot of different types of inventory feeds to make sure that the most frustrating thing we find from consumers is the product they're searching for if it's not available. And what's even more frustrating, if it appears available in the shopping ad and when they click through to find out it's not. So making sure that your inventory feed is accurate and up to speed so that what you're presenting to a client in one of these shopping ads is accurate will change the way consumers feel about your product and your brand in particular. And then once they start to see ratings when they get into the next pages, these things are so important. So the accuracy of your inventory feed is really, really a big part of this. Yeah,
absolutely. So one thing that I also want to point out in terms of shopping ads, a lot of advertisers are already on search. So it's critical to have a cohesive strategy to engage shoppers at every point in the path to purchase. And remove that friction. According to a study, we actually saw that brands are 74% less likely to get a click on a paid text ad when a competitor is running on a shopping ad and they are not, which is pretty huge. Let's look at kind of some more insights from that same study. So people click by intent. If the intent for the search was a purchase, they're more likely going to click on the shopping ad. But if the intent for search was for research, they will more likely click on the text ad. So having coverage on both search and shopping helps you maximize your visibility on Google search results. So research has shown that shoppers exposed to both text ads and product listing ads compared to text ads only have a higher likelihood of visiting your website, making a purchase, visiting a product page, adding the product to their basket, searching for that particular brand, and then also clicking on a store locator. So we recommend doing search, text ads, as well as shopping ads together in conjunction. So now that we covered kind of shopping ads holistically, let's kind of jump into the different ad formats that we could leverage to help you be discoverable as shoppers browse, seek inspiration, and research products. So first, when we talk about shopping ads, we're really talking about what formerly used to be known as product listing ads or PLAs, and sometimes those phrases and words still come out of our mouths. But when we say shopping ads, we're referring to what used to be called PLAs, if that's something that you're familiar with. Shopping ads are positioned right at the top of the search results. So they're the ones that are in that carousel format, highly visual, in contrast, obviously, to text ads. And they show the users a photo of your product, the title, the price, store name, and more, all information that we're getting from your data feed. So again, having the most up-to-date feed, super important here. And they give the users a strong sense of your product. So, it gives you a more qualified lead. And it also, one thing to note is that we've seen that shopping ads convert at a 30% higher rate than paid search text ads. And they use your merchant center data to decide how and where to show your ads. Previously, shopping ads focused on the product-specific lower funnel queries before we could match to a specific SKU. But as consumers have become more visual and turn to Google more and more to ask general product questions, there was a need for a mid-funnel image-based format to capture these queries and browsing queries. And showcase ads represented our first innovation into an upper funnel format to answer these inspiration-based queries. And we believe that the more that we help shoppers browse, research, and make informed purchases at every interaction with us, the better qualified they'll be when they explore your brand. And now, even more excitingly, this ad format is going to be integrated into our product listing ads, our shopping ads that we just covered on the previous slide, starting April 1. And let's talk about local inventory ads. So when it comes to omni-channel retailers, local inventory ads are Google shopping ads that are shown to shoppers who are planning their shopping trip locally and are a great option. So local inventory ads really help the user understand the availability of the products that they're searching for in a nearby store before making a purchase or going to visit the store. So shopping ads driving the user to kind of the e-commerce site to make the purchase, but you could also do local inventory ads to drive users to your store. So that's why this is critical for omni-channel retailers. The objective of the extension is to drive traffic to the site by showing your local product availability. And this is something that within the feed setup that NetSertive can set you guys up on, and to act really as an assister in the purchase funnel to add incremental value to the business offline. So with the research phase becoming even more crucial aspect of shoppers' buying behavior for offline and online purchases, local inventory ads really help give the users a better understanding of that pricing, quality, and then most importantly, the availability at the local store before they go. And then at Google, we're always innovating. So moving up the funnel once again, we have shoppable ads on image search, which is currently only in alpha, but still wanted to cover it today just to let everyone know that it existed. So Google Images really highly visual, rich surface, and obviously hundreds of millions of users are using it every day to shop. And they're frequently using Google Images for ideas, inspiration, and visual imagery. So key shopping categories like home, for example, we launched an alpha for shoppable ads on Google Images that will enable users to engage with the shoppable content. So as you can see here in the screenshot, they'll be able to view shopping offers from a merchant within a single lifestyle image served on Google Images, and click out to the actual e-commerce website for that product. So this is a pretty huge innovation in terms of shopping ads, but then also in kind of the home space. This is obviously going to be something that's really big. Right now it's in alpha, but as soon as it comes out of alpha, it'll be something that we could start testing with NetSertive clients.
Nicole, one thing you mentioned in those last two slides, it's really important that we find with our customers. When you mentioned the local inventory ads, what we end up doing with most of our clients is sitting down after we've captured some data, and we can start to identify really interesting trends in how products are purchased both in-store locally versus in a shopping ad. And it's data they've never seen before. So we're actually starting to tweak our customers' campaigns at the product level and at the location level. And they've never had that ability to understand, well, you know what? People really want to purchase, let's say, for example, this desk in the store, but they'll buy the accessory lamp online. And when they start to think about their details at that level, they start to really refine the return on their investment and increase their ability to put more money into their campaigns and drive revenue. And that's kind of coming across in this visual you have here in the image ads, right? I can start to see the accessories along the different purchases I have, which is interesting. A lot of our customers think they want to drive their average cart transaction up, when in a lot of situations you want to drive it down, but increase the number of transactions, because that keeps people coming back to your platform and your store. And the data that we're sharing with them through the Google platform allows them to make those educated decisions.
Yeah, that is a huge point. And I think so critical to shopping ads is kind of that analysis you were talking about, and really taking your product catalog, segmenting it out, having different return on ad spend goals for your higher margin products versus your lower margin products, and really being nimble to maybe use shopping ads to push certain inventory. So maybe there's an older model that you want to move. You could really bid up on that and, really strategize differently based on your product catalog and what your goals are. So it's a really exciting product. And I think with a lot of, looking at your feed and looking at your product catalog and segmenting out the strategy with the NetSertive team, really having some strong success. So if you're new to driving sales online with Google, first you need to set up shopping ads. But before you begin, you must be possible for shoppers to essentially make a purchase of a physical product, get the product shipped with a physical address, which also means you need to have an e-commerce site. So, just making sure that the baseline, I'm sure that's obvious, but making sure that you have the e-commerce site that you could fulfill, you could ship, you have the inventory. Those would be some kind of critical first step markers. Second is the uploading of the product catalog and that data into Google Merchant Center. So creating that inventory feed, which Pete has talked about, something that they could help support with through their partners and really help you get set up there. And then once you have those two elements set up, you could really start working on creating your smart shopping campaigns. So regardless of the type of shopping campaign you create, you really want to make sure that your customers have up-to-date information about the products that you're selling. So the quality of the output is only as good as the data fed into the algorithm. So make sure that the feed is being updated correctly, it's being consistently optimized. The more products available to serve in smart shopping campaign ads will improve your performance by making more data available to Google's algorithms, and in addition to enabling more personalization. And then once you ensure that you have fully optimized feed, there's various annotations available. So in search and text ads, we call them extensions. In shopping, we call them annotations. We spoke on a few slides ago about local inventory ads for hyper local intent-based searches, but we also have various annotations such as merchant promotions. So you could showcase your special offers with a price tag icon. Curbside pickup, which we talked about earlier, has grown staggering amounts, 3,000% year over year. We have a curbside pickup annotation as well. And things like free shipping, product ratings, which I know Pete touched on, but these are all things that you could set up within your feed and in a merchant center to have these annotations on your shopping ads and just make them that much more powerful for the user. Anything else to add there, Pete, before we jump into smart shopping campaigns?
You mentioned the product ratings again. That's so important, especially as people are seeing competitors' products listed. They will dive into those product ratings. So if you have the ability to pull that into your feed and display that in your ad, it gives consumers confidence, and it's also part of the research process. So the more expensive, what I would call a considered purchase, those ratings are going to be really important.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you can see in this screenshot, when I'm seeing a high volume of reviews and then that product rating being in that 4 to 5 range, like I'm naturally going to click on that over the other one. So really having that updated feed and having all of this data ready for that consideration is only going to help the performance of the campaign. So earlier we spoke about how important it is to be nimble, especially in this time where things are really changing day by day and hour by hour, and ensuring that you have a strategy to help you capture demand in a dynamic way using smarter automation that can make actionable sense of the data and signals in real time at scale. Introducing smart shopping campaigns. So that's what, in terms of automation, smart shopping campaigns uses machine learning to drive simplicity, performance, and reach to help you drive online sales efficiently, maximizing your conversion value, and allowing you to reach both new and existing customers across Google platforms. Smart shopping campaigns optimize towards conversion value. So they allow you to focus on 2 key buckets of potential customers. So first, reaching new potential customers, so acquisition. Reaching potential customers when they're searching for products that you sell profitably, and then showing products from your feed to relevant customers who have not been to your site. And then you can also increase customer value by reaching current high value customers by smartly targeting your existing customers via your remarketing lists to grow the value of your audience. So that's a huge one. And I know that's something that NetSertive can definitely support with all your own audience data and integrating that back into your campaigns to increase performance. And then smart shopping campaigns were essentially created to better help businesses achieve their specific e-commerce goals. So smart shopping supports one main marketing objective, and that's maximize conversion value. And this means that your campaigns will auto-optimize towards maximum sales revenue for your budget. Optionally, you can set a target return on ad spend goal, which will optimize towards maximum conversion value at or above the target return on ad spend that you specify as well. And we've seen great results with smart shopping. It's consistently driven more value for advertisers than other shopping studies in a series of Google tests that we've done when comparing it to other automated bid solutions. So because they work towards your goals, we've seen that they deliver significantly more value for every dollar spent, and advertisers are seeing more than 30% increase in conversion value when they're using smart shopping campaigns. So how do smart shopping campaigns work exactly? Smart shopping campaigns work by using Google's ability to process lots of data with advanced machine learning. Smart shopping is what we are betting on for the future. Automation creates real measurable value for businesses, and a part of our commitment, Google will continue to innovate here. So smart shopping campaigns start by continuously analyzing Google's insights on user queries, our data for intent signals, and also your insights. So your audiences, your brands, your products, your basket size to determine patterns that correlate with an online conversion value. And then once we have all that at auction time, the Smart Shopping campaigns uses all of these insights that we decide whether the user is likely to provide high value and how much that we should bid in order to maximize that value. Which product is the right product to show at that query, and then also whether to show the ad in the first place. So it does all of this in just tenths of a second and achieves great results for our retailers. And in order to be a successful e-commerce business, we must find the most effective way to acquire new customers. So we touched on it earlier, but relying solely on waiting for a consumer to seek out your product often isn't enough to achieve your growth goals. And Smart Shopping campaigns help you automatically find new customers while hitting your business goals. And last but not least, it's important to note that Smart Shopping campaigns reach users across surfaces, and they show on search partners, the display network, YouTube, and Gmail. So they're across all of those surfaces. And when you launch a Smart Shopping campaign, you'll have kind of maximum visibility and discoverability across those surfaces. So my key takeaway is kind of, this is your moment. It's imperative that you seize it, and we're here to help you reach hundreds of millions of people who do shopping related searches for products that you already offer every day. So wanted to jump into a real life example of this in practice with one of NetSertive's customers. Peter?
Sure. So I appreciate that. It was actually a nice setup here in the last couple slides, Nicole. So when you think about Smart Shopping and you think about all the variables that the Google platform is analyzing, it's making adjustments, what I would call within certain lanes. That feedback comes to NetSertive, and then we've got to make adjustments on the things that Nicole had indicated in one of her previous slides, right? Your creative, how much money you're putting into mobile, the responsive platform, the ratings, the artwork, all the different things that come into the experience a client's going to have once they click into that shopping ad, particularly in the storefront, even the checkout process. Those are the areas where we're using that data to make adjustments. So one of our customers here that we're going to talk about has seen a 139% increase in ROAS as a result of using Smart Shopping. So that allowed us to actually look into our customers, basically what I'll call data that the Smart Shopping tool is giving us, and help us prioritize the high priority or high ROAS products and categories. But it also allowed us to scale the optimization of the product detail data, right? So there's a lot to be said there, but what our team looks for are a lot of the nuances. In one of our previous customers we just met with a couple of weeks ago, we probably analyzed 24 different things that would improve the performance of their Smart Shopping ads. And it's interesting, a lot of that stuff seems pretty unglamorous, right? It literally could be tweaking a font, it's changing a color, changing an image, also changing the way that we found out that their conversions on mobile were much lower than they were on screen. In fact, probably off by a factor of 3 compared to industry standard. They had no idea that that was happening. So that data allowed us to tweak their mobile experience and make sure that the customers that are getting to that point in the process follow all the way through. So when you want to see that kind of an increase, there's so much that Google Smart Shopping brings to the table from a data perspective that we didn't have access to before, but that allows us to sit down with our customers and really adjust the details and the nuances in their campaigns at a product level like we've never been able to do before.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that's a great point. I mean, there's so much that goes into it. It's not as simple as a search ad and just setting it up. We've, everything from the optimization of your e-commerce, your landing page, the product data, the feed, getting it set up, the consistent optimization, looking at all of these data signals. It's really, there's a lot to work through. And I think working with a partner like NetSertive, who kind of has that expertise, is set up, and works with us on a daily basis on the optimization of these campaigns. I think there's a lot of opportunity and confidence that you all should have in looking at a partner to get you set up on shopping ads.
Well, and Google's made this available for free for people to get started, right? So I've seen a lot of customers just turn this thing on and see a 20% lift in their performance. What starts to happen afterwards, and where we partner with Google, it's like where SEO was and still is. SEO is more of a black art. It's more art than science, and takes continual work, right, to make sure that your site is optimized for SEO. Shopping ads are no different, right? The combination of the inventory feeds, the creative, the reviews, all the different things we talked about, those are a lot of variables. And that's where you need to partner to platform to make sure that those variables are being addressed, because some tweaks you make in one channel or network or platform can have impacts in other places. We've actually had customers where we've had to drive their ROAS down to drive brand awareness that they didn't have before we could drive it back up again through their shopping ads. That's not an intuitive thing, but a lot of the customers we talked about early in the presentation got caught on their heels, a year ago when, as Nicole indicated, e-commerce doubled more in 2 months than it had in 10 years. They didn't have brand awareness in the e-commerce world, and their competition did. So it took a while for them to get back up to that level. So depending on your market, your customers, and your brand awareness, you might see different results at different times, but you can be successful with the right partner and the right approach.
Absolutely. Do we want to get into Q&A?
Sure. If anybody would like to pipe any questions in, I'm sure Nicole would be happy to answer them.
Absolutely. I see one on my end that I could go ahead and get started with.
Please do.
Okay, perfect. And this is one that you touched on just a few seconds ago, but someone had asked, can I show my products for free too? So the answer to that is absolutely. Google offers most recently the free product listings, the services across Google, and they send the user right to your retailer website. So all you have to do is set up the feed through Merchant Center, and you can opt into this feature. And again, think of it as the organic version of shopping ads. You should absolutely take advantage of this, but you have to set up the Merchant Center feed. So I would work on that and get set up for the free listings as soon as you can.
Another question that came in, Nicole, is how are custom labels used?
The custom labels. So the custom labels are used to help power the information that we show in terms of I think it's in relation to the annotations of this question, if I understand it correctly. The custom labels in the feed help power the data that we show in the shopping ads. So having the custom labels within the merchant feed will give us the signals and the data that we could show in the actual shopping ad to the user.
That's great. Another question that came in, and I think we addressed this earlier, but maybe you can help clarify. We talked about local inventory ads. So yes. Dave has a question. Can you focus only on local area customers in shopping? Is that an option?
So if you were to only do local inventory ads, you would be able to. Shopping ads, I'll have to circle back on that one to see if you could just isolate to a specific area. I believe you can, because obviously, depending on where you could ship to, you could set certain targeting parameters. So I would just have to see how far and how deep we could get as far as radius and zip code targeting.
Great question, Dave. Thank you. Appreciate it, Nicole. I saw another question pop in where somebody said, are you seeing many B2B customers leverage shopping ads, or is it primarily a B2C tool?
We are seeing, I would have to check on that. I mean, I think it's for both. I don't know if you've seen anything on your end from a customer base, Peter.
I think it's interesting. For larger ticket items, when it's a considered sale, I think some B2B customers are trying to figure this out, right? They're trying to figure out how they play in both camps. I think most of our clients we're still seeing are primarily B2C focused, but because people are working from home more, they feel like they need to reach them in that environment, and they're trying to figure out how to play there. But I don't think the market's figured out how B2B actually leverages shopping ads just yet, but they're definitely leaning in. So there is another question that's interesting from Eric. It says, he's actually not sure if this is the right question for the webinar, but they're running into an issue trying to find a shipping company that's reasonable to ship furniture. So they're also wondering on local only. So I guess that's probably a behind the scenes question, maybe not necessarily a Google question, but yes, there are shipping companies out there that specialize in shipping furniture. If you want to have an offline discussion, feel free to reach out to me. We can maybe see if we can connect you to some of the folks that we've worked with in the past. And then Lauren has a question. How does the Google guarantee work in shopping ads?
So I'm trying to think of what the equivalent would be in shopping, but the Google Guarantee is a badge that we have for local service ads. So it's not a badge that we have for shopping. It's just for our kind of LSA, local service ads.
Okay, that's helpful to know.
Let's see.
Other questions that have come through.
Okay, I see another question. So how would it work if I have different stores? So for example, an outlet store with inventory at different locations. So if it's just for e-com purchases, you only need one merchant center account and one feed for the shopping ads. But if you're trying to do those local inventory ads and direct users to your brick and mortar, you could still use one merchant center feed, but you'll be able to actually submit an incremental feed based on in-store inventory, and you could do that for your different locations.
Great. Other questions at this time?
Oh, I see Lauren responded again about, oh wait, let's get back to you on that one, Lauren. I want to see a screenshot.
Yeah, she said she found a badge on a shopping ad, so I told her we'd see if we can maybe bounce back to her later on that.
Perfect.
Other questions? Those are some zingers. I like them.
Let's see. Okay, someone else asked, they don't have a product feed. How do I create one? Can you create one for me?
A product feed? The answer is that's not something that sort of does. We don't create product feeds. We partner with product feeds or inventory feeds. And there are many companies that do that. So we're happy to point you to a couple of our partners. That's a pretty specialized activity. So a lot of customers have their own feeds, but we can work. I mean, for example, Shopify is a great product feed. There's a lot of different product feeds that we work with out there, but it's not something that sort of produces on their own. Typically because for people that don't have one, they often have their inventory in what I would call a homegrown platform. So getting the data into a standard format is something we typically work with a third party for. All right.
I think that's all the questions.
Well, Nicole, I really appreciate you taking the time. It was a really comprehensive overview. If people have additional questions, feel free to reach out to Nicole or myself, and we'll make sure we coordinate an answer there. But the folks at NetSertive are ready to help to connect your products and services into the Google Shopping Ad platform and drive revenue. And we hope you guys found this informative as much as I did. So, Nicole, thanks again for your time.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Everyone have a wonderful afternoon.